Hey guys, welcome to an interesting video on Wild Rift. So today we're back with a Draven supplementary guide, and today we're going to be taking a look at Draven with SHIELDBOW. So we've taken a look at Draven with Collector, we've taken a look at Draven with the Magnetic Blaster, and finally we're going to take a look at Draven with SHIELDBOW. Now, I still think Collector and Blaster are both superior, but of course SHIELDBOW gives you that defensive shield, so if you get yourself in a sticky situation, it can definitely save you. So the build pretty much goes the same. You go for the Gluttonous Grease with the AD and Omnivamp, you go for Bloodthirster for the stats, as well as of course all of that physical vamp that Draven loves. IE of course for the huge amount of AD as well as the increased crit damage, and then you go into SHIELDBOW. You get a generally good stat line as well, and you also get that shield, which by this point in time should be relatively large because you should be pretty high level by the third item. Fourth crit item is going to be the Mole Reminder for the Armor Pen and the Grievous Wounds, and finally your last item is going to be a defensive option such as GA or Maw, options like those. So for the runes, I still like to go for Lethal Tempo for the attack speed as well as the attack range. Of course, Press the Attack is also an option, as is Conqueror. Of course, the standard Marksman Loadout of Brutal for the extra on-hit damage, Giant Slayer to counter the tanks, as well as Alacrity for the extra attack speed, and Bone Plating for the defensive capabilities. And for the spells, of course, we have Flash together with Exhaust. Of course, Draven doesn't really benefit so much from Ghost, especially because he wants to fight early, and Exhaust is going to help you a lot in those fights. But with all that said, let's now move on to talking about our gameplay. Okay, so let's take a look at the gameplay now. Of course, as usual with Draven, you generally want to play with an aggressive support, which in this case I'm not doing, because of course I do want to show that Draven does work with any support as well, right? Like every ADC has support preferences, and aside from maybe an ADC like Samira who really needs a support, who works with her, other supports are generally fine, right? So here we find an early level 1 trade. Unfortunately, I missed catching my axe, which then basically leads to my support dying. I try to trade back, but I'm exhausted, so I don't really do a lot of damage. So kind of a screw up already at level 1. I think not getting the X catch there was huge. If I got that X catch, I think I could actually kill Jinx. But yeah, and I also exhausted Jinx really late, so overall it's just kind of a horrible level 1. Now the only good news is that of course we didn't die and lose our stacks, which at this point is really not that many stacks as of yet. But yeah, so at least Seraphine does have CC, right? So with the CC, you will be able to, of course, lock people down, and hopefully you can, of course, blast them and, get kills with the help of Seraphine's CC. Of course, not the same as a Nautilus or a Leona or something like that, but it's definitely better than some other supports. So over there we have a classic combo of Thresh and Jinx. Of course, we have to watch out for Thresh's engage, because even though Jinx doesn't do so much damage early game, with the lockdown of Thresh, it could lead to a situation where Jinx gets a lot of free damage in, and it could be a problem if you take too much of that free damage. So here Jinx gets rooted, I get one of those auto attacks in, Thresh hooks Seraphine, but of course Jinx is not in a position to follow up, so nothing too much comes of it. Here I'm just trying to maintain my spinning axis as well as just to get some poke damage down. Jinx is already relatively low and does have to play pretty safe, and this is kind of the problem with playing against Draven, right? Generally you are always like in a pretty low state and you're pretty oppressed, and if you misstep one time, Draven will kill you, especially since I have both my flash as well as my exhaust is about to come up right now. So if Jinx finds herself in the wrong position, she could find herself dead really quickly, so she has to definitely play safe. However, she does get a brief respite because I do have to back and get my boots, and this allows her some time to push in the wave. Now it'll be ideal if we could come over and stop her recall, but I think that's not really possible because we have Thresh of course there as well. Thresh though is recalling later than Jinx, so Thresh almost gets caught out by Seraphine. Unfortunately, doesn't happen. Here we are just going to continue on farming and continuing to stack up our League of Draven stats and hopefully an eventual cash-in. So here again, very nice poke by the Seraphine, allows me to get one auto in, and we chunk the Jinx to half health. Jinx once again in a pretty precarious position, because if she gets caught by CC, she will die. And here she does get caught by CC, has to flash away because I was not close enough to auto attack, so she doesn't actually die. She's now on 1 HP and she's still sticking around, so I just flash forward, get the easy kill, get the 628 gold, 328 from the cash-in, and now we have Kindred hovering as well. We know Viego is near, but with our jungler here, it's going to be a 3v2. Here I have to walk out of the tower a little bit, and here Thresh gets chain CC'd, almost dies, finally does die, and here with the Kindred out, I am able to survive for a little bit, and my team is able to clean up. So overall, 2 kills and an assist for myself. Good Kindred out there to save me, and almost walked out of it by accident, but thankfully I did realize what was happening, and I didn't. So yeah, pretty good chain of events there. All kind of works out for my team. Both Thresh and Jinx take a death. Although unfortunately Jinx did get a kill on Seraphine, but overall it's still a very, very positive outcome. We got a huge cash in, and that's what you really want on Draven to start snowballing the game. Right, Draven loves early kills, of course. As I've shown in many of my videos, Draven can still play the game if you don't get early kills. And even if you're behind like 0 and 2, 0 and 3, you can still play the game as Draven. Although it's not going to be as dominant, it's not going to be as fun. But you know, it's not like you die a few times and you're out of the game. There's no such thing. So here, using our lead, we are bullying the enemy team by just getting the tower plates, because if they step up too far, they're going to take a bunch of damage, especially now that we've gotten kills and gotten items. I'm 1k gold up on the Jinx, so she is going to feel a world of hurt. Unfortunately, I get disrupted by the Thresh there. However, I'm still in the auto attack battle. Ulti onto the Jinx to basically dissuade her, and I'm able to kite them out. And we go back to retrieve my fruit. Seraphine is keeping the fight ongoing. I'm able to come back and then kill the Thresh, as well as then following up with the Jinx. And we're able to pick up both kills because Seraphine was able to keep them stuck in the fight. So here I'm getting back pinged. And yeah, Teemo was on the way, so good pings from my mid laner to basically save my life there. And I am able to complete Bloodthirster and get 2 extra long swords as well, which will go a long way in the lane as well as in the general game. Of course, with those 2 more kills, we get another cash-in, or another 2 more cash-ins, I guess you could say. And this puts us to like about 6k gold, which is really far ahead of anybody else. And of course, at this point, that's more than 1k gold per minute, which definitely is the kind of spot you want to find yourself in if you're Draven. Now here I get basically just caught in chain CC. I try to escape with my flash, however, I'm not able to do so, and I do eventually go down to the Viego. So a little bit of a bump in the road here, of course. Gangs like these do happen, and of course I was a little bit overextended here, which is not exactly where I wanted to find myself to be. But here Ahri is able to pick up a kill onto the Jinx, and Dragon is being contested by both teams. Kindred, starting off the Dragon, steps into a Teemo room and takes a bunch of damage. Teemo is back in the picture, and Viego and Thresh are kind of waiting over the wall. I'm now back after my death, and we are able to burst down the Dragon and secure it. Viego finds himself kind of stuck in the pit, but does go into stealth to run away. And now we're headed back to lane. Now we have a BF sword, which is a huge 40 AD, 40 AD for us, and it's gonna make our auto attacks hurt a ton. So here you can see we're just chipping away at the tower, chipping away. I knew Thresh was gonna hook there, so I walked back a little bit so he doesn't hook me while I'm under the tower and I don't take tower shots. And here, of course, with this lead, you just want to play really aggressively, right? There is still a decent chance like this, like if Thresh hooks me, I still think there is possible that we win the fight, or even likely that we win the fight just because of how ahead we are. So ideally, any fight is a good fight, unless of course we're low. But in this case, I think any fight is a good fight. So if Thresh initiates with a hook and starts the fight, I do believe we win the fight pretty handily. So we really are just looking to fight. And here we can also just lifesteal off of the minions with the help of Bloodthirster as well as the Gluttonous Greaves. Gonna put us basically back to full health, as you guys can see. And of course Jinx is also building towards Bloodthirster, but she hasn't really gotten it yet, so she doesn't really have that benefit. So here I managed to get 1 auto attack on Jinx. I get hooked again for the like umpteenth time. Here we're trying to focus the Jinx. Doesn't quite work out. And here unfortunately we get ganked by Teemo. I'm trying to get the kill onto Jinx, which I do. I get the cash in. I even get the kill onto Thresh. and then Teemo finally kills me. But in this case, considering that Teemo was ganking, I think 2 for 2 trade is worth it, and I did get the cash in as well as another kill before I died. So I kind of made the best out of a pretty bad situation there, and yeah, you know, I think that that was actually absolutely fine. Like with Draven, I think you can't really be afraid to die. Of course, depending on what the match situation is. Of course, late game you definitely don't want to die, but in the early and mid game, I think in most circumstances it's actually okay to get a couple of kills and die, because with Draven, if you ever trade 1 for 1, assuming you get the kill, you're always going to be on the winning end of the trade because of your passive. So you're always going to be getting more gold than your opponent because of Draven's passive. And here, speaking of which, the opponents are trying to dive my teams. I'm hitting there as quickly as I can to dissuade them from doing so, and they do end up giving up the dive before I really even get there, to be honest. So here we know Viego's in the area. It is a 3v3 here, so I'm not too scared. I am really strong. I try to kill Viego, but it doesn't actually hit him. Jinx is now 1 HP as well. Jinx survives on 1 HP as well, which is really frustrating. I can't believe nobody died there. But yeah, just a little bit unlucky there, I guess you could say. And nobody ends up actually going down in that entire fight. So now we're going to take another reset. And yes, I haven't getting hooked by Thresh like a ton of times this match, but most of the time it's just because it really doesn't matter if Thresh hooks me. I think that if he hooks me and starts a fight, I do think I win that fight anyway, because of how ahead I actually am. So here we're gonna go mid since I've already gotten the top lane tower. However, Teemo and Jinx are pushing the top lane. I don't think we can actually defend the tower, so I decide to go back to mid to just push that one in. Of course, there's no more tower plates up at this point in the game. However, mid lane tower is still very, very important, just for the general map mobility. And here I'm forcing it down with the help of Ahri. We do get the tower down. Viego now comes in. Ahri charms for the disengage, and is able to escape with the help of her ult, at least for the moment, until the Jinx ult comes in. Now Viego taking over Ahri's body, tries to charm Seraphine, doesn't actually hit. Caitlyn ults me for some reason. I'm full health, so I don't know about that one. So here I'm trying to get into the fight without putting myself in too much danger, but of course I don't really end up doing very much. So here, Caitlyn and Jinx are both very long range. It's a little bit hard to deal with them as Draven, because they both have really long range to kind of bully me as well as my teammates. So it's a little bit difficult to kind of reach them. We sort of have to find an opportunity to do so. And even though Jinx is pretty behind, she still has that range advantage, and that kind of means that she can hit me when I can't hit her. And same goes for Caitlyn, which makes this match particularly hard to play. Combined with the fact they have a Teemo who has the blind, makes it even harder. So definitely this match, even though we're pretty fed, it's definitely not over. It's definitely not like a win, at least until we actually, you know, get the win. So here a fight breaks out, and here I'm basically just taking advantage of the fact that people are free hitting on people other than me, and getting the kills that way. And yeah, so of course, generally you always want to focus the enemy ADC, because if not, they can just free hit, and yeah, this is gonna happen. So here I'm pretty low, so I'm trying to not play too aggressively, because I don't want to just die for no good reason, right? So here I'm going to instead take a reset while my team is busy pushing. I get my SHIELDBOW, which is going to be huge in terms of, you know, saving my life. And there's multiple instances where I'm taking a ton of damage and getting pretty low, like what you just saw there. So this, you know, this SHIELDBOW is going to come in real handy. Huge wave in the top lane, so I'm going to have to quickly come over and clear the lane. However, Seraphine does end up dying in the mid lane, and we're able to get that wave. So I don't want to push any further because Baron is up, and I don't want to be on Vision on the opposite side of the map compared to Baron, because when that happens, enemy team gets a green light to start Baron, especially if, for example, both the ADC and the jungler are on the wrong side of the map. That's pretty much a free Baron for the enemy team, and you never want to really be be spotted on the other side of the map when there's Baron. So here I believe I can get my enchant, so I'm going to back and get the QSS. Of course, QSS is very useful for the Caitlyn blind, you know, for Thresh's CC, etc. Here I try to help out my team a little bit with my ulti, but Ari picks up a triple, and could be a tie for Baron. I'm pinging for Baron, because obviously 3 people are dead, including the jungler. Only Thresh and Caitlyn are alive, and I don't think that they can stop the Baron as 2 people. So I'm pinging the Baron. I'm thinking we should do it right now. And we are indeed doing it. Caitlyn ults Seraphine, I guess. And we do secure the Baron. Caitlyn now getting caught. Yeah, Thresh has to pay for it with his life. And Caitlyn does end up escaping because Thresh pretty much took all of the heat for her. And now we grab ourselves the Executioner's Calling. And now we're going to push down and attempt to get as many towers as we can, / end the game if we can. Standard Baron play. Of course, T-Hex is not going to be around in a couple of days' time when the old Baron returns, which I'm pretty excited for. I love the old Baron compared to T-Hex, but as T-Hex was in the game for longer and longer, it kind of grew on me a little bit, and I didn't mind it as much. I hated it at the beginning, but now I'm kind of just okay with it. Either way, it's not going to be around anymore. T-Hex starts blasting down the tower. Viego might be coming. He does have that the E onto the wall. I'm hugging the right side wall to be as far away from him as possible. Huge auto onto the Teemo. And here, huge charm by Seraphine gets Teemo killed. Viego coming in from behind. I'm just blasting him. And I have my lethal symbol like stacked up now, so I'm just blasting whoever I can. Huge auto onto Caitlyn. Caitlyn nearly dies just from my auto attacks. Takes 2 hits and nearly is dead. TX actually kills Caitlyn. And here you can see I'm actually focusing the Nexus, because even with the shield, I believe we can actually end the game here. However, the TX kind of trolls it, and yeah. So here, I'm still looking to focus the Nexus. I'm focusing Nexus, ignoring the enemies, and 1 HP, and we are able to get the win here. So I'm going to leave you guys with the stats as usual. Thank you guys so much for watching the video, and goodbye.